Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rachak Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is E Destroys Everything. And pretty much this is just based off of a little something I was listening to earlier. I was listening to this song that I, from way back in the days. I forget what year it was made, but it was in the early 80s. Let me see. Just bear with me 1 second. It's saying it was released in 1993, but that's BS. Yeah, 1984 is more like it. So before we get into it, I just want to read this quote here that I found. It says, "What is an evil man? The man is evil who coerces obedience to his private ends, destroys beauty, produces pain, extinguishes life." And this is a very good quote for the beast man. Y'all know who the beast man is. These devils, man. They are the beast man. And I found this extremely enlightening, because I typed in a Google search engine for images. I wanted to find a picture of an evil man. And it gave me all Edomites. I'm pretty sure some of them might be Jakes, but they all look like Edomites. And I found this quote because this devil destroys everything. It says, "What is an evil man? The man is evil who coerces obedience to his private ends," and that's what the international banking families do. Their private ends is what? The New World Order, having everybody sea-hipped, no matter what these other clowns say. Destroys beauty. It says produces pain, and that's all they do. Extinguishes life, and that's all they do. They're the harbinger of death. Okay. And the brother said that's the spirit. I don't know, maybe you were talking about it, the brother Bayan Yasha Allah, maybe he was talking about that to somebody else. But the song that I'm talking about is a song called Mean Machine. The individual is Grand Mixer DST. When you get a chance, you listen to it. I've listened to this song many times. It was released January 1st, 1984. I've heard the song many times, but I never paid attention to the lyrics. I would just, pretty much sing or hum along with the hook. Automatic push buttons, remote control, synthetic genetics, command your soul. And when you think about it, this is talking about right now, the way they're trying to, bring the IOB or the Internet of Bodies, and this is what they're doing. So all the way back then, they were already programming people for what they wanted, but this was a message in Jake's music. And Jake's music, going back to, R&B, blues, different songs, and hip hop, it was like the newspaper of the hood, is where you would share ideas, information, speaking to Jake in general, to stop living that foul lifestyle, and do something better. But Esau destroyed that in the late 80s into the early 90s with that gangster rap, because they wanted to destroy that bond. When music back then was mostly about, talking shit about, the skills that you had. It was about, sometimes it was about adultery, stealing your woman, which that was wicked. But there was a lot of times that it was used in a positive way, bringing out positive messages, positive hope, Hard Times, the Run DMC song, Hard Times, Boogie Down production with KRS-One and the whole plethora of Jake's, of different artists that did a song called Self-Destruction, so there was a positive message in this music, and it was used, self-motivation, keeping Jake, spirits up, But now it's not like that. But when we read through this, like I said, I was listening to it earlier, and when we read through the lyrics, we get to the first verse. It says, driving me nuts, bolts, screws, dealing with this mechanical world. I got the blues from paying dues for program news of honey-coated lies. See, that your eyes can't believe. So even back then, Jake was hip to a lot of things that were going on, and they were putting the message in music. And this is why they destroyed it, because this was a way of Jake communicating with each other. Just like, during, slavery, Jake had a way of speaking in code so that the man wouldn't know what they was talking about. They would come up with their own way or their own slang of talking, that they'll be talking right about the devil in his face, and he wouldn't know what the hell they were talking about unless some sambo told him. And that's what you sambos do. It says that, come on now, that weave the devil's magic with the latest gadget. The MOTB, this whole system, this transhumanoid from the mean machine. And I never knew, but as I'm listening to it and I'm listening to the lyrics, I'm like, yo, I said, they were saying that the mean machine was Esau. It says, running the same game with another name. And that's what they do. They keep switching up, down your brain, blowing your mind, stealing your time, smooth and slick, right? Because that's how the devil comes. He comes smooth and slick, so you don't know, that he's actually busting you up. Let me get a quick precept that just came to mind, and let me read this one that I have here. St. John 10:10. The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. Now this is Yahushua speaking to them wicked Pharisees, and this is what it really applies to, but it's very fitting to Esau today. And this is why we've used this scripture many times to say that this is talking about Esau today, even though it was used back then for Jake. All right, just like Revelation 2:9-3:9 was really speaking about Jake back then, and today we use it for Esau, the small hats. And this applies to them first and foremost, because they are the head of the nations, but it also applies to the other tribes of Esau. All right. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. And this is why there's a gross spirit of deception out there. That's heavy out there. This is why Yahweh said, if at all possible, they shall deceive the very elect, because they're on a mission to deceive. And this is why they're coming, and the way they do it is like, if you really scrutinize, using a word that's out there now, in Great Millstone, scrutinizing. When you scrutinize what these devils do, is really weak. But the thing with these devils is that they come constant with it. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until they break down people. This is what the devil does. He's not very prolific. He's not very wise, as far as, the way he does things. But it's a method that he uses to wear people down by constant repetition, something called inculcation. The word inculcation, or to inculcate somebody, is to impress upon the mind by constant repetition. And this is what they do. So this is like when you encounter devils like Vocab Malone. He'll bring out a scripture, that he knows is BS in his cause. Then you break it down right, and then he'll turn to something else, but then he'll come right back with the same question, with the same scripture, saying the same exact thing. We already covered that. And after a while, certain individuals get tired of the battle, and they lose. That's when you lose. But that's how these devils are. They're relentless when it comes to that. All right. Now, the other one is 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 13. It says, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, because they're not going to come straight up and tell you that they're the devil. They're going to come very nice. They're going to come, as it seems to be, humble, lowly, harmless. And that's why I said that their venom is as the venom of a serpent, or something along those lines. Because once a serpent injects you, it hurts for the moment, but then you think you home free once you get the initial bite. But with a poisonous serpent, that venom gets in your bloodstream, and what it does, it starts to coagulate the blood, thicken it until it chokes you out. And this is what these devils do. When they spit that demonic venom through Renaissance Christianity, it slowly but surely chokes out the truth out of Jake. You know, this is why you have some individuals that were a part of Israel that no longer are a part of Israel, that went with that weak-ass plantation Christianity, because the devil kept pushing and pushing and pushing till he choked the truth out of them. That's the parable of the sower seed. You know, they choke the word and it becomes unfruitful, you know. Right, the brother put irritating is causing annoyance, impatience, or mild anger, or an irritating child, similar annoying, right? And it's an irritation, you know, until you give up. It says transforming themselves into the apostles of Yahushua, and this is what they do. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed, meaning changed, into an angel of light, and that's what they do. So going back to the song, right? It says running the same game with another name, same shit, no different name. Down your brain, blowing your mind, stealing your time, smooth and slick, right? Because here it is, you thinking that you're in control, but before you know it, you're caught in the devil's lasso. Shit is a hassle. It says with the latest trick to get rich quick. And that's what they're doing, because this is why they're pushing this whole system on the world, because they're trying to keep making more money. They don't have enough. From nonsense at your mind's expense, right? And this is all nonsense, but it's what? At your mind's expense, because they're looking for souls, right? It says, as your mind digs the scene from the mean machine. In other words, the picture that he's painted, the mean machine being Esau, your mind is musing upon that. Let's see, the mind muses. That's in the Apocrypha. Wisdom of Solomon 9:15. For the corruptible body presseth down the soul, and the earthly tabernacle weigheth down the mind that museth upon many things. And these are the things that Esau pushes out there, you know, and it's a constant repetition. It says from the mean machine, designed to drive your brain insane until they break you. It says, and then it goes into the hook. Automatic push button, remote control, synthetic genetics command your soul, dealing with the system that's being built, but also this genetic synthetic ideas that are being pushed into Jake's mind out here. It says loudspeakers blasting inside your head. Right, that's that same message that Esau's pushing, saying what someone else said, for you to do what they want you to. No, go fast, slow, getting high off the latest lie. See, so they're using the metaphor of getting high like a drug from their lies, from the latest lies, telling you when, where, how, and why, as your mind digs the scene from the mean machine, or running the same game with another name. So I was listening and I'm like, damn, man, I listened to this song many times, but I never realized that the message, you know, in the song until earlier today when I was listening to it. All right. It says factories of insanity playing on your vanity as they distort your sense of self. See, because we are what? Israelites. And what is their job? To distort our sense of self. This is why it says in Psalms 83 and 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. See, people think this is, you know, you guys are just making that up. What's wrong with you guys? You know, these devils are not that bad. I mean, these so-called white people are not that bad. You obviously don't have your head screwed on right. It says, and consulted against thy hidden ones. These are counsels that they take. You know, when you have Jake out there say, don't be blaming the white man for this, that, and the other, blah, 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 because that's your choices. No, motherfucker. You know, this is a curse that is upon our people. Now, there are always exceptions to the rules, you know, but some of these guys that get to those prominent positions, they never tell you what they do to get there. And then when you see them speaking, they're throwing up hand signs, you know, because they're all a part of the same club, whether they were a part of a fraternity, whether they were part of whatever they were part of, you know, whether they're politicians, police, whatever. All right. It says they have said, come and what? Let us cut them off from being a nation. Let them be called Negroes. Let them be called Puerto Ricans. Let them be called Latinos. Let them be called, you know, Native American Indians, but not the people of the Lord. Let them not come together. Let them not unite. All right. That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Now, do we still see the name Israel being spoken? Yes. So what does this mean? It doesn't mean that the name of Israel would no longer be in remembrance. What it means is that the name of Israel would no longer be remembered upon us. So the Lord had to bring it back to our memory. And now that we're remembering through the spirit of Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahushai B'Hashem, Rachak Kodash, the devil is fighting hard to try to remove that. You see? That's what they're doing. This is what that, because if you listen to them, it's the same old, I'm like, how the fuck can these people sit there for hours listening to the same old tired bullshit? You know? The same old tired message. Recycled. You know? Recycled, rewound, and reissued. It's the same old shit. But what it is it's a constant repetition, a constant pounding with the hammer of lie, a constant pounding. And what happens is Jake gets caught up in that. But the Lord said that if it were possible, they would deceive the very elect. This is why you have to listen closely to what these devils are saying. Because their mischief comes out in the message that they're given, but you have to be able to catch it. You know? There's a lot of bullshit that they spew. So let's go back. It says factories of insanity playing on your vanity as they distort your sense of self. These Jakes, man, they was in the zone when they was writing this, telling you what you need and how to succeed. Right? You know, you got to go to college. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do the other. You got to play with the man. You got to be on the mean machine team. As they steal all your wealth, right? Because they're not really giving you real money. Probing your mind, trying to find how to scheme on you the best. From program schools with devilish rules. Come on, man. Putting you to the test. Death dealing devices sold at high prices. Right. Designed with you in mind to buy. Right. Because when they sell beer, when they sell food, when they sell clothing, when they sell sneakers, whatever, they're doing it with Jake in mind because they studied Jake. See, Esau, unlike Jake, studies. They study Jake. They look at Jake. They've had other Jakes break things down for them. If they don't know, they ask questions. They look into it. It says, as they kill you slow, some of y'all don't know, right? Because you hot in the boiling water and you don't know that you're being boiled to death. You're paying the machine to die. Mechanized lies dressed up in disguise and forms of various kinds. Yo, these Jakes, man, they was in the zone when they wrote this. Because I'm listening, I was like, oh, shit. Treachery and deceit the people must defeat. And do you see now why they had to remove those messages, those positive messages, those uplifting, building messages to get Jake's mind elevated above the condition where they were in? They had to remove that out of the way because they didn't want Jake to be positive. They wanted Jake to be right where they're at right now in a fucking degenerate state. That's what the scriptures say, that how wilt thou turn into the degenerate vine of a strange, degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me. Fucking devils, man. In a battle for free men's minds. See, because once you come into the truth, your mind is free. But some individuals get caught in the devil's lasso. Shit is a hassle. For complete domination is the goal of this nation, of all free thinking thought. See? And those who oppose will be killed by their foes. You know, this is why sometimes, you know, you get these prominent jakes that have a positive message, even though they might be lost, and they get smoked. You know, because they don't want you. Who was that? Was that J. Edgar Hoover? He said, if there ever be another black messiah, we will give it to them. You know, you got Jake getting caught up by the likes of Kanye West and Kendrick Lamar and all these individuals, you know, coming up, Kyrie Irving, the KKK mob, you know, and all these individuals so-called Candace Owens, so-called coming up against, you know, the system, the status quo. They talking against the man. They're all fucking set up, man. Where the fuck are they at now? They swoop in, get Jake caught up, and then they swoop out. That's what a Judas goat does. That's why, you know, I really, when them so-called rappers talking about that they is, I don't pay attention to that. I don't listen to that. I don't buy into that, because I know it's, for the most part, it's bullshit. It says the flunkies whose souls have been bought, transplant to revive the living dead, replace the truth with lies instead. Newspapers, radios, TV spreading lies across 7 seas. And that's what they've done. That's why in 1921, when the CFR, Council on Foreign Relations, was established, the first thing they did was buy all mode of communications, whether it was radio, whether it was newspapers, magazines, whatever it was, whatever mode that was out there that was prominent, they bought it. All right, so that they can control the news that's going out, so they could ticker tape the news. It says robot men with computers for brains. Look at that, man. Even all the way back then, robot men with computers for brains. What's that? C-hipped in the head, you know, connected to the web. Spaceship, cars, trains, and planes calculated to blow your mind, moving faster than your sense of time, living soft while the people work hard. For the devil would have you believe he's God, and that's true. Their whole purpose is what? They will be like the Most High. And it says that they have the power to deceive. Let's go real quick to Second Thessalonians, as High Priest Ariah used to say. 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped. And we see that. So that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Why? Because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And what did they do? They covered up the faces of the judges thereof. And then it goes on to say, if not, where and who is he? Who did it? What nation did that? Who did that? Okay. So let's jump down to the 8th verse. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, which are the prophets, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming the nuclear missiles and the lasers from the chariots, even him, who? Esau, the sons and the daughters of the devil, whose coming is what? After the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, that power that they have. And when we read Micah 2 and 1, it says that it is in the power of their hand to do this. And when you look up the word power in Micah 2 and 1, it's the Hebrew word Allah, which means God or God-like one. Okay? This power might be dunamis, or something along those lines. Yep, dunamis, which they have the power to do that. Through what? Through their deceptions. Strength, power, ability. Okay? So let's go back. Let me see. I'm sorry. Let's read a little more. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness, and what in them that perish, because their power is deception. The very first thing that the beast did when they came out of that condition that they were in was what? Deceive the whole world. It says, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. That's dealing with Jake. And that's why they took a positive thing in music and turned it into a negative thing, because they know that music has an influence on Jake. They changed the hertz, because there's certain frequencies that connect you with the power, with the Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. There's other frequencies that disconnect. And that's what these devils do. That they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. So let's read a little bit more of this. Chemical drugs that'll keep you high. That's them drugs. Well, and also today you have what? These chemicals that they put in the food to keep you addicted to that food. And meanwhile, you're addicted to the food and you're blowing up. You're like 400 or 500 pounds because the shit that you're eating is not real food, but they put stuff in it to make you crave it. While the mean machine creates another lie for power, glory, and worldwide fame, while running that same game with another name. Man, they was on his own. I mean, and it goes on and on and on. Because I had the one I was listening to was super long. Let's see. It says it's a computer equation for worldwide invasion. What are they doing right now? Pushing the C-hip worldwide. That comes in the name of peace and goodwill. When they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. But they're lying, right? Because that's exactly what they're doing. They're lying, and they keep on trying, right? Because they're not gonna stop until the Lord stops them. These devils are moving forward to set the people up for the kill. See, population control for the people with soul. Come on, who's the population control for the people with what? With soul. Who are the people that got soul? Beginning with Judah and the other tribes. So this always been the same way. When the V was available, they said that there weren't that many. Oh, we're going to step out of line and we're going to give it to the Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. We're just going to let them get in the front of the line because they're the most at danger of, getting hit with this thing and dying from it. So we're going to be the noble people that we are. We're going to step aside and let you have it so that you can be protected. Get the fuck out of here. Population control for the people with soul. And this is when the whole song was hitting me. And then when I heard, I said, oh shit, they were talking about this way back then. It said population control for the people with soul all over the planet, manipulating their will with a tiny white pill to control their natural birth, which is what? That was birth control. Planned Parenthood. Come on, man. Behind the scenes schemes further in the mean machine's dream of what? Extermination of Jake. Of conquest and world domination, which they already have, from the farthest depths in the universe to the smallest earthly nation. Radar, sonar, laser beams, jets, tanks, submarines, megathons, H-bombs, napalm gas. Come on, man. All this shit will kill you fast. All products of the mean machine, the devil disguised as a human being, and he will even preach that the Most High is dead, and that's what they do. The fool that said in his heart, there is no God. And some of y'all will believe what this devil has said. Why? Because, where is it? Okay. I must have got rid of it. 2 Corinthians 4:3. It says, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world, who Esau, has blinded the minds of them which believe not, because it wasn't given to them to believe it. Lest the light of the glorious gospel of Yahushua, which is this truth, who is the image of the Most High, should shine unto them. And what would happen? They would be converted. They would be healed, and the Lord would have to deliver them, because that's what the Lord said. So it says, and some of y'all will believe what this devil has said, and he will then act as the world's police, and the sun will rise up in the west and set down in the east. And when it came time for the end, the men will look like the women, and the women like the men. Come on, man. This is all the way back then in 1984. You know? Come on, man. And it goes on and on. You could read the rest. I put this in the description box. But this was, it's kind of hit me like a ton of bricks today. Like I said, I've heard it many times, but I never really paid attention to the lyrics until today. You know, so I wanted to, you know, kind of go into that. You know, and now you see why they had to remove messages like this, because this was exposing what they wanted to do. And this is now, this goes back to 1984. So look at from back then to now, none of this happened really into like the late 90s into the 2000s. It was all behind the scenes, and now we're seeing what this song was bringing out in the message. So do you see now why they had to destroy this? Because they don't want that influence on Jake. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.